All right, we are back with another episode, and joining me today, I've got Jessica Sevier. How's it going?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time. I know we both have had late nights we were talking about.
Yeah, big shows.
Shows, music's back, live music.
Live music is back for
I,
sure.
I love it. All right, Jessica, for starters, those watching who may not know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you come from.
Yeah. I make country music and it's kind of been a passion of mine. I kind of started out in rockier stuff. I was in a few bands that did like Bruce Springsteen cover bands and stuff. More rocky, kind of like 80s things. And then I guess in the past few years, I kind of started getting into country. And it's been really cool. And I found a great sound that I really love and I'm passionate about it. And it's been a great community to be a part of in the last few years for sure.
Very cool. And what made you come to country?
Um, all these kind of like 80s rock songs had a lot of country feels to them. That's kind of what I felt when I was listening. I credit Cinderella, like Heartbreak Station, that album kind of really made me write in a more country style because those songs are just like super country and twangy with this kind of rock voice to them. So that's kind of where I started getting my first glimpse of country and started writing more like that. And then eventually just kept going and wrote with other people in the country scene. And that's kind of how it started.
Perfect. And growing up, how did music kind of start for you? Was it in the household, parents were involved in music, or just something you fell in love with?
Um, my family's been like musical. We like to listen to music. No one had really done like singing or like guitar or anything kind of around my house. My sister did a bit of guitar. And I don't really know how I started. I think just having music around all the time, like playing in the house, I just started singing along to it and like being very fascinated with it. And then I started vocal lessons when I was really young and I kept going. I studied up until university. So I went to university for classical voice. So I sang classical voice like my whole life. And that was kind of where I started in the voice and kind of finding my own voice in like country and rock kind of things that helped me so much. So I'm really grateful that I did that. But yeah, like my family was just into music and no one ever really went ahead and did music until like me and my sister kind of thing.
Right. Okay. And for someone who's never heard your music before, how would you describe your sound? Because I know you've obviously tried different genres. I'm sure there's a mixture in there now.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely say more now it's very like mainstream country. I'd say like Lainey Wilson is a huge influence on me, to Neil Towns, that kind of thing. But I also do write in other styles that are more in the likes of Bruce Springsteen with country involved in it. Um, and I try and then just kind of write and make things that are relatable. So, in my life that I think other people relate to. So that's kind of my vibe right now, I guess.
Okay, very cool. And artists who inspire you, do you have artists who inspires you specifically towards songwriting and then towards performing?
Bruce Springsteen would definitely be my biggest songwriting influence.
Yep.
I just love the way that he writes, and it's so like insightful and thoughtful, and I really like that. I also do look at Tennille Towns a lot. She's a great writer, and I love her style. So I think that's super cool. And then I guess in terms of performance and stuff, I grew up watching a lot of like, rock performers and all that sort of stuff. So that's definitely where I get a lot of like stage presence and performance moves and all those sort of things. Like Axl Rose, I grew up watching him just like shredding it up there on stage, just dancing and running around. So that's definitely something that I try and, put into my performance and make it fun for everyone. And also, again, Lainey Wilson, she's so cool. Like, I would wear these big bell bottoms, and then she came out and became very popular and with all these bell bottoms. And I was like, wow, like I've been doing that, and it's super cool to like see that. So I kind of use some of her stage moves with my bell bottoms and all that sort of stuff.
Very cool. Yeah, no, all those artists are fantastic. Lainey Wilson, yeah, very great artists. Um, Okay, what would you say? I mean, kind of growing up young in the scene and stuff, what has been
Hmm.
the best advice that you've been given that you still follow till today?
Hmm. It's a hard one. I think stop comparing yourself to other artists that have been doing it forever and you're just kind of starting. It's so hard to like not do that and be like, oh, why are they playing here and I'm not? Or why do they have this and I don't? And it's because, they might have more experience, they might have better connections than me, and I'm gonna get there in time. So, stop comparing and stop trying to be someone else is kind of the best advice that I've been given for sure.
Okay, and now would you give that same advice to someone that's younger looking for advice, or what advice would you give them?
I would totally give that advice, stop comparing yourself and be careful who you trust, I think is another one. Because, there's so many people out there doing so many things and you never know who's the right person to choose. So, take your time when you're building a team or when you're doing anything and really just, think about what you're doing. I think that's great advice as well.
That's a big one. I follow that one big time myself.
Sure.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Awesome. All right, let's talk your new music,
Mhm.
Confetti, new single. Tell us, tell us about it, how it all came together.
Um, it was written by some great people. So at Sony Music, Emily, Kieran Kosowski, and Alyssa Michaela, they wrote the song. And so I guess I heard it maybe back in like July, August kind of time of last year. I got a list of songs and I was listening to all of them. And then Confetti came on and it just kind of like was like, oh, wow. It was kind of like this moment. I was like, I love this. The demo was just amazing. And maybe it was a bit of like demoitis. Like I was like, oh my God, I love the demo. But um, yeah, like it came on and I was like, oh my God, this is just so cool. So my manager Jordan and I right away were like, we need this song. So it went back and forth for a bit. We were just, emailing back and forth with Sony and trying to get the song. And then eventually it was like, yeah, you guys got it. So that was just like a great moment. So cool to get the song. And then we kind of let it sit for a bit. We didn't really know who we wanted to work with on it and what we wanted it to do. So eventually we decided I was going to go down to Nashville and record down there. So I recorded with Grady Saxman, and he just absolutely killed it. The whole team there is just great. So I love how it came out, and it was a great time going down there and recording, and everyone who's worked on the song for me has been just amazing. So it's just been a great experience for sure.
Awesome. And it's available on all platforms, obviously. Perfect. And do you have plans for a music video? Anything like that?
We did shoot an acoustic video. So in like a church, we went down to a church and I sang in this church. Um, and it was so cool. It was a great time. And I just kind of danced around in the pews and, um, yeah, it was super cool. So that will be coming soon. We're just finishing up the final touches on that. But no like official music video for my next single. Definitely there will be a video. But this one was kind of just here I am. This is my song. I want you to enjoy it, kind of thing.
Very cool. Okay, perfect. Let's talk about songwriting. When
Mhm.
you're songwriting, where do you find your inspiration?
A lot of weird places. I mean, I've been like just sitting on the bus one time and like got inspired by something and totally wrote it down. It's just kind of all sorts of things. Someone will say something to me, I'll be like, "That's super cool. I'm gonna write that down and maybe write a song about that later." Like, it just kind of comes from life. I would say, and like listening to other music, listening to the emotions that people are talking about in their music, and then I'm like, "Oh, I kind of relate to this. Like, maybe I can write something similar to this line." This line just has so much meaning. Why don't I write a song about this one section of this song? I think that's a cool way that I've, been inspired by things before, and just all the world around me. Like there's a sock on my floor. Like that could be like an inspiration to me. Like, I could start a line to a song like that because, maybe like I'm sad and I'm not cleaning my room kind of thing. That's where I found inspiration before.
Okay, very cool. And what about co-writing? What's your favorite thing about co-writing?
I think the best thing about co-writing is just like having someone to be like, no, that was a terrible idea, or like, why don't we change that? Because when you write alone, you're just like kind of like Yeah, that's fine. Like I like that. You don't know what other people think about things. And then when you do like co-writes, it's just like you get to bounce your ideas off more people and refine the ideas even more so that they become, even more clever or even more cool or even more meaningful. So I think that's my favorite thing about co-writing for sure.
Okay. And when it comes to your music, what is the general message you're wanting to send to your fans and why?
That's a good question. Um, Definitely with Confetti, I'm you know wanting to give people advice that like you're okay in where you are at life right now. Don't rush things. Everything's gonna work out. I think that's a huge thing about Confetti. And I just think my overall message would just be like, yeah, you are who you are. Do what you do. Things happen. Things go wrong. But everything's just it's all gonna be good. Just chill out. And I think that's a huge thing is I just want to like make people happy and feel okay in where they are, um, and write about real things.
Absolutely. Okay. And like we said, live music's back. Do you have any shows lined up people can look forward to?
For sure. I have so many. I have a bunch of kind of like acoustic duo stuff that I do all the time. And then my band has a bunch of shows coming up. We're playing Rib Fest in Burlington in September. Um, a big festival that I don't think I'm allowed to say anything about yet, but that'll be super cool. I'm opening up for some insane artists that are just so cool. And then just kind of all around, I'm playing Harmonia Fest with Nicole Ray in August. And lots of things coming up. So they just keep coming in. Lots of smaller pubs with acoustic sets. They're all on my Facebook. If anyone wants to check those out.
Perfect. Well, with that being said, tell everyone where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, Instagram is Jessica Sevier. Facebook is Jessica Sevier Music. I do have TikTok. It's Jess Sevier. My website is jessicasevier.com. If you get lost, just look up my name and it'll pop up on Google or something.
Perfect. All right, guys, go grab her new single, Confetti. And Jessica, thank you for chatting today.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Absolutely. And yeah, keep in touch. And I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll talk soon or bump into each other at some point.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye.